black space was very inviting, actually. Comforting is the word that I would use. And the three pillars as well, not only just the three pillars and just the black space, but the window of light that's allowed to come into the center of the room is what makes it inviting. I don't know if it was from a window on the wall, if it would feel the same, but the light coming down from the top gives it a feel of sereneness. It really makes it feel a bit special, like you're standing in a holy place. I'm new to Europe, so I've only been there for like 3 weeks, and when I was in Germany a couple of weeks ago, entering a Gothic cathedral, I was like overwhelmed by the size, and it was an eye-opening experience to the design of spaces and how they can make someone feel. And so I thought, not just back to the cathedral, but also just thinking about design of a space. The design of when you initially enter the room with the window coming down, the light coming down, the structure and of the three pillars, the symmetry, and also the rule of threes as well. Very uniform, very calming. It just allows you to enter at a level that makes you feel like very zen, instead of being maybe overwhelmed or apprehensive to enter the space, or confused or timid. It was just very calming, In the first generation, I was really enamored by all the dynamic movement in each sculpture, the composition, the pairing of the subjects. For instance, like the three horses, they're not separated. The body is together, but the heads and the legs are separated. It really just makes you think about unification of subjects, essentially. So when it came to the lovers, I actually looked at it when I first entered through the window to the left before I actually entered into the room. But it was good that I saw it from that angle and then was able to come around and see it from the other angle, and then also circle it, because it reminds me of one of those ballerina toys or something, that it pops up and it spins on its own, even though I was the one circulating it. It was just very, once again, thinking about the unification of shapes and movement and angle lines. Just so much to take in from one piece. So I perceive love, and like I said, ballet as well. I also perceive the dance of the two lovers as well. And my personal favorite were the two birds, the two larger sculptures of the birds at the bottom. Fully outstretched wings. The wings were not bending or not folded in, but at full freedom, full flight. They say that birds often, they actually fly sometimes just to relax, like no destination, not hunting or anything like that. Literally just fly just to be at peace, just to be calm, sort of how some humans at least, drive and listen to music or something when their mind is going wild. So that sort of full freedom, full extension, full flight, also all the movement. It was so much like, I'm not a sculptor, so I don't know all the particular terms, but as a painter, I would say so many lines inside of the sculpture as well. Instead of just carving one wing with maybe some lines, it's like each feather had its own indentation as well. So a lot of movement. I love the birds, and once again, it just brings you back to the calm, serene zen, the peace. Sabre was very, that was very incredible. It was almost like two pieces, looking at the shadows of the ancient times and the future. and the relationship between the two and the conversation between the two. Also, light control as well, to be able to take one single form and reflect a still shadow, and a shadow that's also moving with multiple indentations. That was incredible to see from a painter's perspective. But then when I turned into the light, when I rotated the room and got into the light to view the sunlight off of the saber, I was like having it felt like having a conversation with my ancestors. Truly, very, very, very deep, very deep. I could have stood there all day, just looking at the light reflecting. But yeah, that was incredible. It was like looking at having a conversation with the future, the past, yourself, and the ones that you know as well. It was pretty incredible. Universal, serene, conversational. At first I was just trying to recognize shapes and textures. So I was perceiving it as a cave or a rock, some sort of rock formation. And but every time I focus on one particular piece or one point of the rock, and I moved on, then I would go back and looked again, and it felt like it moved or that it shifted. So as I was going, taking my eyesight around the room, and then going back again, then I just kept going like this constantly, because it was always changing. And so I tried to pay attention to the depth of the piece, seeing which parts were in the front, which parts were in the back, what's a cave, what has a deeper indentation, deeper shadow. At some points, it just looked like it was cut. So there, I was a little bit confused, because I was like, well, what could bring that inside of the rock formation? And the textures as well. Some of the textures looked like it was a slice. Some of it looked like natural formation of rock. So then I became a little bit confused as far as trying to identify, but at the same time, I was still feeling very calm, just appreciating the beauty. It reminded me of the universe as a whole. Some pieces very particular, the color schemes, it just felt very total, very complete as a whole. It reminded me of the art of creation. So as artists, we all create, and we have things that come into our brain during our dreams or whatever. Then all of a sudden I paint something on a wall, and now it's a creation from nothing. And this is something that can never be replicated. As much as we try as painters, for me, to represent the real world down to the most minute detail, which has already been perfected, you're never able to really reach that level of brilliance of the natural cosmos of the universe. And so looking at it from this perspective, I saw all that is beautiful in the world, all that is beautiful in the universe. But no, it's not possible to replicate its true beauty in its realist form, in its most complete form, like 100%. As a human, you could only get to 99.9. You could never reach 100. You can never actually create the earth, other than creating a human, like having a baby. That's the closest that you get. That's the most beautiful part of life. The most beautiful part of the world is when you have your child, because that is the closest you get to the beauty of art and creation and of life. It was an incredible, incredible display of God's creation, our earth. It's not just art or just, even though, like you showed me the sketches and the studies and how much research goes into it, and that is why it's so incredible. It's almost like science and art at the same time, which the world tries to separate the two. This is an incredible display of both the earth and the art, the intuition that comes from your head, and also pairing that with studying, and bringing both of those together to show how connected we really are, not just to each other, but to the earth. You know what I mean? To the universe. We try to make it seem like it's not out of reach, but so separate. I would have to think deeply about it to really express my full feeling, but I can say that it was an incredible display of our universe, to put it simply. Yeah.